Is it rate my ride or is it roast my ride? Nobody knows. We are flames. Let's get straight into it. Inspired by one of Jimmy's chilled builds, this is a bike from Tyler. It's a Look 765 Gravel RS frame set, Zip 303s, Roval seat post, Physique Vento Argo R3 saddle, MV bar tape, SRAM Rival and Force mix. He's doing the mullet thing. It's an Eagle rear derailleur, Silka TI black bottle cages, Quark power meter and exposure lights. It's set up in the picture for road, but he has another set of 650B head wheels. Head wheels are cool.
They were super cool. You don't really see them anymore, do you?
They've disappeared. He says, this bike rips. Love the show. Cheers, homies. This is a perfect example of one bike, two sets of wheels.
I actually really like Zip's new graphics.
No.
Okay.
The best logos on wheels should be massive and white, and 3 of them. 1, 2, 3.
Well, yeah, they've got 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that that's the saddle we've used, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
We don't like that saddle.
It's comfortable enough, but the 3D printedness of it means you sit down on it and you can't slide forwards and backwards because it's it's grippy.
I don't like the idea of getting all mud and muck stuck in them, though. It's not a gravel-friendly saddle, is it?
That one there, just to get it.
Why didn't you get it, Francis?
You can see it has my gravel dirt in it.
I hope that is your gravel dirt and nothing else. Oh, there's some more of your gravel dirt. Exposure lights are absolutely mint. I've used those loads. They're actually a UK business, which is cool.
I have pretty much this gearing setup on my gravel bike at the moment, and I love it for normal riding. Maybe if I was racing, the gaps in between the cassette would be too big, but I actually quite like that when I'm just out riding on bits of gravel and you change gear, you actually want it to change gear.
No, it makes no difference to the actual performance or really anything, to be honest. However, I would probably be trying to find spacers that are thicker that match the beefiness of the Zip Sprint stem, because that stem is like beefy, isn't it?
Spacers? What you mean underneath?
Yeah. So it was kind of in line. The spacer was the same thickness as the stem. So it was just kind of.
You're gonna find something like that wouldn't interfere with the headset.
Well, yeah, you get it 3D printed.
Oh.
This is what I do now. Everything is 3D printed. Oh, this isn't how I want it, so I'll 3D print it the way I want it.
Do you have a 3D printer?
No, but I put something out on Instagram and someone 3D printed a top cap for me.
Do you remember Warhammer?
Yeah.
People 3D print them now.
They do, yeah. Thieves.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 8 out of 10. And the only reason I'm going with 8 out of 10 is it's a bit too angular for me. It's like an aero frame, isn't it? And I like really old. I like round tubes, so I'm knocking it down a bit. Oh, but then I'm going to put it back up because it's got 2 wheel sets. 9 out of 10.
Next up, we have a bike from Marius, and they say, first of all, thanks for the great podcast and the YouTube content. By far my favourite bike-related channels. Thank you very much. Attached, you see my first built-up bike. For the geometry, I had a bike fitting beforehand, so I knew the size would be fine for me. Besides that, the only criteria was it should be a steel frame, because I like the look. I want to try out wide tyres. I want to try out electric shifting. So I went for a Bombtrack Hook EXT frame set. SRAM Force Explore and DT Swiss Spline 1800 wheels. The other parts I stole from my old Genesis. I love stealing parts of old bikes. Recycling.
Like Dura-Ace cranks.
It was great fun to build it and I learnt a lot. I'm curious what you think. Any tips for handling a complete new bike are highly appreciated.
Handling? What, as in like...
Handle it very carefully so you don't scratch
Just
it.
lots of
and then
bubble
once
wrap.
you get the first scratch, way, who cares?
My best advice is you get a hammer and just smash it, and then you'll be okay with it. Don't.
It's like guitar. The first ding is the hardest.
With anything. Really,
After that, it doesn't matter.
The first ding on my new second-hand car that I got a number of months ago. Do you want to know what the first ding was of that bike? Me dropping one of the Cade Media bikes on it and putting a big dent in the side of it. So and I think that was maybe the second day that I had the car. I was just like, cool, so start as we mean to go on, I guess.
Bombtrack. Like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, that's a song by Rage Against the Machine, yeah. I don't really know much about Bombtrack. I've seen them and heard them. Have we
never ridden one?
Ever done
I've never ridden one.
Stuff? I don't think so.
No. I would hope you knew, because you filmed the bike builds, but then I guess you delete them from your brain.
Yeah, from the brain, yeah.
The seat post has unusual branding on it.
Looks like Ritchie.
It is Ritchie, but you can't see the end of the logo.
Maybe that's why it's so high. He's trying to show off.
He's
more
actually
of the
can't
logo.
reach his pedals, but just. I mean, interesting design choice by Ritchie. Perhaps they should make the logo smaller if they want people to read it. I quite like it though.
Yeah, it does. As graphic, it's a nice graphic.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the tyres are that colour because he's actually used them on some gravel and it's got a bit of dust on it, as opposed to grey tyres.
DT Swiss, always a very solid choice.
Yeah, they're great. They've got so much versatility in maintenance and changing them. For example, you want a new free hub, or you need to replace the free hub, or you want to change it to Campag, you're always going to be able to get parts for it, which is pretty cool with DT Swiss.
They're just never exciting.
That is very true. I've got a set on my road bike, and that's a perfect explanation as to how they are.
You know how insanely cool DT Swiss wheels would be if they had 3 white logos on? I would buy like 10 sets.
Do you want to know what I despise about the DT Swiss wheels that I have?
What?
I can demo it for you if you want. Do you want me to demo it for you? It's
Yes.
not for the video, it's the free hub. I wanted to get the sound.
Yes.
It's disgusting. Can we appreciate how horrible this hub sound is? Not currently, because you can't hear it.
Shall I spin it fast for you?
Yep.
Ready?
I know some people are into like really loud free hubs, but I like freewheeling because you don't have to do anything whilst you're freewheeling, and I have to put up that
What's your
monstrosity.
favourite bit of bike riding?
Freewheeling. That's my favourite bit. And then I have to put up with that noise, which then forces me to pedal more, and then I get upset.
Oh, is that bad?
Yeah.
You hate it that much? Why don't you wear earplugs? You have very small ears. I'm surprised you can hear the free hub noise.
That isn't how ears work, Francis.
They get bigger as you get older though, don't they? So one day you'll have normal sized ears.
Yes.
And one day I'll have really big ears.
Oh, it's got a redshift stem. We like them.
Oh.
I've got.
It is good.
We are sponsored by Garmin. That's a Wahoo, so I'm going to knock off 10 points.
10?
No, of course not. It's a great bike. I think it's super versatile. It looks pretty. I like it. I think he's going to have a good time on it. It's a 7 out of 10.
6.5. For DT Swiss being boring but great.
Oh, I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm gonna go up a half because of the redshift stem. Comfort wins.
Comfort.
Comfort wins.
Next up we have a bike from Ian. This is a Reynolds 853 frame from Mahal Bike Works.
Okay, promising start.
The world's best, big claim. Eagle Heart Reynolds 853 fork.
Ooh, so okay.
Carbon Astral serpentine wheels. Vittoria Terrenos. Pull components, tall and handsome seat post. I don't know if that's the brand model or a description from Ian.
About himself.
Tall and handsome Ian.
The Paul Components Tall and Handsome Seat Post is a high-quality bicycle seat post designed for strength, elegance, and ease of adjustment.
It's got a dynamo front hub, sync shifters with TRP brakes, Hope rotors, 200mm on the front, 180 in the rear. I want to look at the picture of this. This is mad. And there's a dog.
Well, if you're transporting a dog, you want some pretty
Extra
sturdy
brake
brakes.
strength, yeah, and cooling. This is such an unusual bike. It's awesome. Belt drive, pinion, gearbox. It is so cool. Look at how long the chainstay is. The rear
it's
chainstay.
belt drive. Did you say belt drive?
Yeah.
It is belt drive, isn't it?
Yeah. I always wonder how.
That is what?
I've never really been hands-on with a belt drive bike, like to look at, other than just ride it really quickly. Is there a split in the chainstay, or do they have some special way that the belts fit on without a split? Do you know?
I have no idea. I hadn't even considered that before, but that now you've proposed
Yeah,
that.
you have to. I think it's slightly compromised belt if there isn't a split, or there is a split in the design of the
There
frame.
has to be a split.
Let's get a belt
non-specialist
drive
bike.
and we'll play with it in the
Yes.
studio soon.
Do you remember in the podcast that we made previously? I can't remember what episode, maybe 74.
Oh, 74?
Yes.
Oh, I remember that one.
Well, I'm having to be careful with how I word it because I don't know how far in the future this video is going to go live in comparison to the podcast that we recorded yesterday. I talked about a gearing system that is in the frame that like exists and is like a weird planetary thing. That bike has it.
Pinion, yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That is literally it. What I was talking about.
Yeah. It's so weird and cool.
That wheel is like it feels like that bike has been specially designed to be made for weight on the back wheel, i.e. a dog.
Well, it's going to be super stable, isn't it?
It's so niche, that bike.
Such
that is incredible.
long wheelbase, lusciousness.
Look at the cutout on the frame bag.
Are these? Is
Look
this?
at the balls.
Is this double?
Look at that. That's so cool.
Custom frame bag as well.
Oh,
Are the two food pouches? So dual action.
One for dog, one for human.
One for salty, one for sweet popcorn.
That as well. That's an alternative option.
If you imagine food when you do that, it's almost as good as
Don't
eating
say
it.
No, it's almost. Oh, eating air is almost as good as eating food. I don't condone this message. Cade Media does not condone this message. The bars. I love the bar shape. It has a dog. Therefore,
10 out of 10.
It is always 10
always
out of 10.
10 out of 10. It's a way to cheat our system. If I were to do any critiques, tan walls could be yellower.
Or not there.
But it's still a 10 out of 10.
That's another there's so many tan walls. I can't believe that everyone rides tan walls now. Yeah. I personally am not a huge fan of steel. Everyone knows I'm obsessed with steel bikes. I don't love a steel fork. But this bike has very clearly been built for hardiness, durability.
It's going to last 1,000 years.
It's bomb-proof.
Maybe not 1,000.
No, it's steel.
It's going to last longer than our table.
It's going to rust in 10 to 15 years and not be usable.
Oh, yeah.
But then you could just cut all of the rust out and put all 100% new tubing in.
10 out of 10. Next up, we have a bike from Thorsten. Due to neck issues, I need to do some radical things to be able to ride a road bike as much as I like. This 2020 Specialized Roubaix comp, size up for comfort. I switched the stem for a 90mm zip service course in plus 25 degrees and the handlebar to a Ritchie WCS Beacon with the lowest drop I could find. Interesting. I think handlebar choice is an often overlooked bike fitting adjustment facilitator.
Can I ask a question here? Is it size up for comfort? Is he saying he got a
higher stack? Clearly I haven't looked at the photo yet, but he's going to have to get a higher stack, and that will be in bigger frames.
But it will be a higher stack.
And longer.
But then it's longer.
But the Roubaix is quite a good geometry anyway.
Just because
Roubaix
it's an endurance geometry.
Exactly.
Okay.
There are some Bike Fit James inspired mods here. Smaller bars, long spindle, SPD SL pedals, and shorter cranks. Still, like the short nose saddle after more than 10,000 kilometers. Don't want to undersell him there. This setup is my day trip setup with enough packing space, Ortlieb top bag, kick flick saddle bag, and Fidlock frame bag for solo centuries. Let's have a look. Wow, that saddle pack is bonkers looking.
It looks like a normal bike, but kind of doesn't at the same time.
The wild bottle.
Well, the luggage is odd, isn't it? Or unusual.
Really unusual.
There's the big beefy thing out the back of the saddle. There's a bottle on the top tube. The bit that's in the down tube bottle holder is like a Filofax. Do you know what a Filofax is?
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah,
you know it as
my mum had a Filofax.
Cultural reference from the 90s. Thorsten?
Yeah.
So Thorsten was saying he's having neck issues, and presumably by the inverted stem, what he's trying to do is keep everything close to him. So I'm assuming the bottle placement comes from not wanting to lean too far down to get a bottle. So,
not having to reach down, that's great.
What I love about this bike is he's using products that are available to solve some problems that he has, some challenges that he has. And that is what I like to see. He's not going, bikes don't work for me. He's actually going, well, if I do these things, then I can ride a bike and I can do amazing things on a bike.
There'll be situations where people in the same position as Thorsten, I bet they've gone to bike fitters and they've been like, you're only going to be able to ride a custom frame. And this is a proof that that is not always the case.
Yeah.
Things can be adapted, and I think it looks pretty good.
Did we?
That bar tape isn't staying that colour though.
Right, let's smash it to bits then. Yeah, see, I intentionally want to mark this bike up because it is a great example of the rules. Ride what works for you and do not give a shit about what other people say or think.
Evidently, he has many happy miles on it. Therefore, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Next, we have a bike from Andrew, who says, this is my idea of an all-road bike. A 2020 Bombtrack, another Bombtrack. Hunt 650B Adventure Carbon wheels, Panaracer Gravel Kings. More Gravel Kings? What's going on? Why does everyone have the same bike? Do you remember that time we did a Roast My Ride and everyone had GP5000s? Now it's changed.
Isn't this
in the space of a year?
Isn't this the second bike with Gravel Kings? And the other one might have been
No, this is like a fourth bike with Gravel Kings.
The other one might be in the first video that we made that might have coincidentally been recorded on the same day, which makes it feels like it's part of this one and there's more than there actually is.
Maybe that is true.
I was trying to see how many words I could fit into a sentence and keep talking without stop talking, and it was quite a few number of words.
Physique Antares, Ultegra bottle cages. Ultegra bottle cages?
Whoa!
Oh, they don't exist.
New product alert!
Ultegra pedals, Tax bottle cages, Arundel bell. That is an expensive bell.
That's going to be like the price of the bike,
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah. Bontrager flare lights. All of Bontrager, however you say it, they do make some good stuff. I bought a Bontrager pump, and I think it pumps in and out. So you go...
So the air goes in and then it comes back out again. Is that what you're saying? Because that's not what a pump's meant to do.
No. Okay, it pumps in and in. So you go... And it only goes in.
Not possible.
Yes, possible. No. I'll prove it.
If it goes...
I'll bring it.
If it actually is like milking a cow and it goes... Then that works.
Have you I never milked a cow.
Have you not?
No.
Oh. But you haven't milked a cat.
You do it like that. Why is it sideways?
Cat.
Is the cow rotated?
Well, if you're pumping it up, then you do it on the side.
What? To make a cow balloon?
Yes. Well, how do you think they fill the udders? Well, it's like a little balloon. You do it sideways and it fills it up. Obviously. What's wrong with you? How do you not know this? This is what happens when you grow up in a city. You don't learn about cows and things. Thank you for your submission, Andrew. So that looks a lot different from the other Bombtrack that we've seen.
Was that in the first video or the second?
I think that was this video.
Classic drop handlebars. That is a big drop, which some people really, really like.
Yeah. I personally don't like the shape of a classic drop. I like a modern compact drop. Is that the horrible saddle? No, that's an alright version of the saddle. What's the physique saddle that's disgusting? I can't remember what it's called.
Arione.
Arione, yeah. That's not an Arione, that's an Antares, which I've used and is actually not too bad. The fenders are absolutely gorgeous. Velo Orange do some mint stuff. I actually like the tone on the amber walls on this one, and it's probably actually because I think
lighting.
If you're right, we've seen it numerous times already today. The lighting on this photo is...
Is that a, like, old school Garmin 500?
Oh!
You know, the one.
I feel like that bike should be one by. For no reason whatsoever, it just doesn't... Massive tyres and 2 by just doesn't feel right. There's obviously there's no reason for it to not be 2 by, but for some reason it just doesn't feel right. I personally would set that up as 1 by. That group set is sick though. I do love carbon cranked Campag group set.
I rate that as a way to carry little tools in a rear bottle cage position. If your ride's not too long and you're not going to get too dehydrated.
The tininess of that rear light is great. Campag are god tier for 2 things. They are currently on our board in god tier for their wheels.
Yeah.
Campag wheels are beautiful.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would instantly put Campag into god tier for are rotors. Look how beautiful those rotors are.
I agree with you.
They are so fit.
Levers, they look like one of those sharks or dolphins with the big head.
Oh yeah, I know the ones. I'm going 7.5 because I love the fenders and the big tyres.
6.5, paint scheme isn't for me. I appreciate the choices are going to be great for the person who's put this together though.
A few moments later.
Welcome back. We just had an interlude to energise ourselves. Bit of sugar, bit of coffee, few star jumps, and now we're ready to go again. Oh, you're still finishing up.
I've got sour patch in my teeth. Next up, we have a bike from Carlo. I wanted to share with you my first ever road bike. I'm relatively new to cycling and started about 2 months ago. I watched a lot of bike fit videos with James And the video you posted about 3 months ago with James's top 10 endurance bikes was one of the main reasons I chose something from the Pinarello X lineup. They have extremely friendly geometry.
Where? Did you say first bike? We'll perhaps say intentionally put his bike up against his very nice fancy car.
I already got some Pinarello stuck in my tooth.
Oh, those E numbers have kicked in.
This is a Pirelli.
Pinarello in my tooth, where's the Pirelli?
This is a Pinarello X5 in size 53. They threw the heavy-ass Fulcrum wheels and Pirelli P7s straight into the trash and swapped them for DT Swiss ER 1400 die cuts and Pirelli P0 Road tubeless readies.
This guy is straight baller, isn't he?
Yeah, this is... I hope they didn't go in the actual trash. Someone could have used those usefully. I ate some sweets.
This rest is broken.
He swapped out the Shimano 105 for Ultegra with a power meter as they fitted better with the colour of the bike. We chose Dura Ace braking rotors. The guy who built up the bike was kind enough to give them away for free. Result? We are looking at someone's first road bike.
I would say, based on the way he's describing his bike, it sounds like he's making lots of mistakes in his purchases and then retrospectively trying to fix them. Because there's obviously nothing wrong with upgrading your bike, but it's sounding like he's doing it within like weeks. Carlo, what I would say is, think harder about your purchases. All of that money that you've got is going to run out.
Some people just like changing things. That's the project, isn't it? Like I have guitars at home. And I just constantly change stuff on
Just
them.
the strings all the time.
No, just think like, I'm going to change these knobs to black instead of white.
Yeah.
And then you buy them and it's exciting and you're waiting for them for a few days. It's a very small purchase, but it's a very satisfying
What do you do with the old ones?
Put them in a drawer and then maybe put them on a different guitar.
Okay.
And you just keep switching stuff around forever.
It's lots of drawers of knobs.
He's ended up with a very nice bike, especially considering it's his first one. 7 out of 10.
I am not a fan of the Pinarello X's seat stays.
It's weird, isn't it?
I don't like the X bit, and I don't like that they highlight it with paint. If it was just blacked, it would be much more lovely. If he's upgrading that to a one-piece bar and stem as well, that is going to cost so much money. That is wild. Absolutely wild.
I guess this isn't plus points for Carlo, but can we give plus points, or at least a shout out to Pinarello for making this bike and lots of other bikes in their range in small enough sizes for women under average height, which a lot of brands don't.
I would be especially happy to give them a shout out if they also did one that cost £1,000 rather than, where do they start? About 3.5, 4. His driveway is gorgeous. That's a lovely bit of paving. I'm sorry, Carlo. I'm sure you are having a great time riding it, but it's a 5 out of 10 for me.
Oh, savage. Next up we have Gitesh. Would love to hear your thoughts. A 2003 Giant OCR1. Alloy with carbon fork. RS80 wheelset, that'll be Shimano. GP 4000 tyres. Soro 105 mix. 3x9 drivetrain. Stuff from China. Carbon seat post. 3D carbon saddle. Compact drop bars. Converted quill to standard stem.
Whoa.
And it weighs 19.8 lubs.
Well,
I haven't got a clue what that is. Let's convert it.
They were quill in 2003. God, that is a long time ago, actually, isn't it? 2003. Wow.
8.10 kilograms.
Fuck's sake.
It's 9 kilograms.
You need a break. I think the first bike I ever had that group set on. I am almost certain I've owned those wheels at some point as well when they broke and I got them on.
The size of the cassette,
It's like,
which is obviously mitigated by having a triple, which will also have a very, very small chainring.
This is in line with the kind of bike that I used. This is what entry bikes used to look like 20 years ago.
I know for a fact, the feeling that you're going to get pulling the brakes on there, because the routing isn't so strained anymore, it's going to feel great.
But if you remember, those shifters, the cables will be coming out of the shifter.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like the braking and changing gear is so smooth on a system like both gears come out the side.
And then
the brakes go under the bar tape, but one of them just comes out of the bar tape and goes straight to the front caliper. So your front brake is always really good. And then there's no internal routing in the top tube. So the rear brake also, the cable is exposed but is very smooth because it's only going through 2 very small pieces of outer.
I've got a lot of time for bikes like this. We have played around with AliExpress 3D printed saddles, and we did not get on very well with them, and they fell apart. I would not personally use AliExpress seat posts and saddles. There are reputable carbon manufactured brands that are significantly more cost effective than the big brands that I would typically go for over random.
They might be sold through AliExpress.
Yeah, perhaps.
How good does a 105 triple crankset look?
Is that 105?
Yeah.
We said Sora, didn't we?
Sora 105 mix.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Look at the bladed fork. That's so OG, man. That's class.
Was that always starting to realise aerodynamics matters, so it will make the fork a little bit aero?
Yeah. And bladed spokes.
Yeah. I mean, the paint job's obviously dated. It's starting to look a little bit old, but I think it's cool. 7 out of 10.
8 out of 10 for me.
Next up, we have a bike from Melvin. It's a 2004 Trek 5200. 105 Shimano R7000, bought this bike over COVID, fell in love with it, slowly built it up since. Now there's nothing left to upgrade, and it's almost time for a new bike, but I'll always keep it.
So the previous bike was 2004 as well.
Position. What? How long is that stem?
I want this bike. That's the kind of like classic vintage older bike that I want to own. You ride it occasionally, you look after it, it's beautiful, it's always kept clean, you don't faff about with getting it
sunny day only.
Yeah, it's like the classic car of bikes. I absolutely love it. I want that frame. Look at like the like where the bars junction each other. What is it even made from? Is that like an early carbon bike? That is so cool.
I rode Marco Pantani's, his actual first carbon race bike that he got when he was riding for his Villiers team. And it was so much better than I thought it would be. I was ready for it to be a really heavy,
horrible
the first time carbon's used from that manufacturer at least. It was amazing. It was okay. The group set, things felt as if they were a little bit old, but the actual how the frame responded was just not far off what we're riding now. And that was just with some like alloy rims and bonkers. So I bet that ride's lush.
What I would change on this is different stem and bar setup that is in line with the stuff that I like.
Is it blue on the bar tape? The bar tape's like
iridescent.
Iridescent, yeah.
Iridescent, no thank you.
It's well up there. 8.5 out of 10.
Do you know the problem with a bike like this? And it's actually something that we have talked about off camera with you having a rim brake bike and wanting a new set of wheels. It's getting harder to be able to get wheels for stuff like that. It's harder and harder to do it. And
in the performance category.
Yeah, because the bike that you have that's a rim bike is a super fancy old, it's a race bike from when they were still using rim brakes.
Yeah.
So you want an appropriate set of wheels for it. And it's harder to find now, isn't it?
So much of it is eBay, but then you run the risk of how worn is the rim, and the lifespan of the wheel is less. So,
I also think though that these older bikes really suit thinner wheels more. Because I don't
shallower.
Shallow, yeah. Right, yeah. Because I don't look at that and go like that needs deep wheels. Whereas it feels like a lot of the super modern bikes are the other way around. If they do have shallow wheels on, it feels like it would be nice if it had deeper ones. Whereas that one looks lovely with thin shallower wheels on.
I'd put 80mm deeps on it.
Hundreds. I used to have hundreds. 101s.
The new they won't make it rim, but have you seen the wheel that Head have made to get around the ban on disc wheels at Ironman Kona?
No.
It's like a donut because it's so deep. It's just a tiny little hole in the middle.
No way. That is going to weigh a lot of cheddar, isn't it? Which no one cares about in TT.
Weigh a lot of cheddar. So does that mean it's expensive or heavy?
Oh, both.
Now, Patrick's bike. He says, it would be an honour to have you two fine-looking gents. Right. No, this is... He's prepping us.
Oh, yeah.
So this is... that's bad form, Patrick.
Oh, wait. I've just seen what it is. He is getting rinsed. It's our nemesis bike.
It's a 2019 Venge Pro SRAM force build, Elite Velo 6 wheels, Berg Cycling LV bar tape, Roval Rapide cockpit. Roast it or not, I still love you guys. Keep up the great work.
So if you have watched any of our previous videos, the Venge, this is an example of a bike which is just like, it's just a bike. It's a 5 out of 10 bike. I don't love it. I don't hate it. It just represents bikes.
Well, not this one. The previous one, the first ever one we did where people got upset because we gave a Venge a 5 out of 10. It was a stock Specialized Venge, so not much was changed on it. If we went to the shop, Specialized shop, which we actually went to earlier.
We did.
Bought a bike and then sent it in to roast my ride. This, however, has been changed with a pretty drastic set of wheels.
They sponsor GCN.
Yep.
There's we talked about on the podcast, some perhaps speculation or not about them maybe stealing IP from a different wheel.
A ratcheted hub.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, let's put aside the politics of the brand. That kind of 6-spoke wheel is kind of cool.
It's one of those things that I see it, and when it just happened, when it's the first reaction is, yes, it's so unorthodox, I love it. And then when I look at it more, I'm just like, oh, it's not though, is it?
You know, I've never ridden a set of these, and I would love to.
If that was a fixie...
Actually, I have on the track, but it doesn't count because there's no bumps or anything, so everything feels smooth and great. But out on the road, and you know they do a gravel set of these wheels. And it just makes me like, surely that's too stiff. Like if you ride, I've got a set of wheels which have carbon spokes, and the carbon, they're so stiff and uncomfortable to ride. I don't like riding them.
I don't think you do anymore.
Have they been stolen by Cade Media again?
Which ones are they?
Have you just you throw them away?
Which ones?
I imagine these wheels will feel that it's just a giant carbon spoke, unless there's some sort of compliance built into them. Okay, everyone's running big tires now, I get that, so maybe the stiffness of a wheel is not as significant, but...
If that was a steel-framed fixie, and we were currently in 2010, that would be a 10 out of 10. I do like that it's, it's out there. I like out there stuff. Even people that don't ride bikes are going to see that bike and then go, whoa, what the hell's going on there? And I like that. It's a peacock.
It's a head turner.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy it, Patrick. 6 out of 10.
Next up, we have a bike from Jan from the Czech Republic, who says they devour all of our content, and I think this bike could be of interest to you. It's based on a Marengestalt X11 alloy frame with a carbon fork, size 61, one of the tallest frames I could find. Hunt 4-season wide alloy wheels. Shifters are quite interesting, I think. They're based on SRAM Rival 1. Left one is gutted to operate a KS Kind Shock dropper. Right one is paired with a 12-speed GX Evil shifter. Evil shifter. Thanks to Ratio technology. I think Ratio are based in the UK. I think they're like a Lake District-based company. I was chatting with Teo about them. Brakes are TRP high roads with 160mm rotors, high cockpit with Control Tech gravel riser bars, 20mm rise, 40cm width, and a short riser stem. What a mouthful. I'm 6'7". Wow. With a long inseam, and this bike it seems to fit him. Whatever works. We could probably ride this bike
on the
dropper all the way down.
I think that'd still be too big.
on the
top tube.
Just the saddle.
Especially because the top tube slopes down.
Basically, it's a completely mechanical bike hacked together, and everything works like a charm. I bet it does. I know I've banged on about these brakes so much, but if you have mechanical operated discs, these calipers, game changer. Ratio technology, it's a UK-based company. I'm pretty sure it's one person who does all these mad hacks and interesting things to derailleurs and shifters like this, and has modified the shifter so you can then activate the dropper.
I guess because of who we are, I guess I need to pose the question of, that will inevitably void the warranty of those parts, but presumably if you're buying them, you know that anyway.
Interesting colour of juice.
Oh, do you think he should have...
I bet it's a red colour, so it'll taste nice.
Do you not think he should make some kind of like concoction of juice so that the top end of it is blue and the bottom end of it is red, so it matches his frame colourway?
Yeah, so different viscosity, so it's no emulsion.
No emulsion. 6'7" is absolutely massive. And you can clearly tell from seeing that bike that this is a big boy.
Normally we go, big people, they're fine, they're serviced by the bike industry, but I think you reach a certain height and then there is clearly not that much choice. And this is a perfect example of finding something that works, that looks sick. That paint job is also sick.
It's pretty good, yeah. But
I think blue and red, you don't see blue and red together.
Can I just say, on the subject of making things fit, it is so much easier to make a bike that's too small fit someone that's bigger than the other way around.
This is an example of that.
Exactly.
There are things on the market. That must be such a long seat post.
It's insane, isn't it?
KS is like a real good brand for droppers. I had one of those. Clearly, I hope there's enough sticking inside the frame. Although I guess if you're in this situation, you're just like, whatever fits. Do you remember I got that really long seat post for a BMX once?
I do. It's up there. Oh, well, actually, the BMX is a seat post, isn't it? Because it wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit up that close to the ceiling.
I wonder where that is. We could send it to him.
Well, I know where it'll be. It'll be in the stock room.
Well, that doesn't mean you know where it is.
Yeah, it's in the stock room. This has actually been a really good list over these 2 videos because there's some bikes that we've put in there that actually, like even for me to see that it's nice that people make stuff work for them. People have enough love and passion for riding bikes that they go, well, actually this doesn't fit, so I'm going to do what I need to do and do what I can to find a solution that means I can enjoy riding bikes. And this is one of those bikes that fits perfectly into that. So I'm glad it works for you, Jan. I think it is super cool, and I would actually love to see you on that bike, and even better, I'd like to ride a bike with you and
preferably on the wheel.
See how
great drive.
See, I'd love to have a photo of how amusing it would be having you on your bike and me on my bike next to you, and it would be hilarious.
Jan, you're getting 9 out of 10.
I would like to knock a point off for the little bit of metal on the seat tube that is kind of just makes a little triangle for no reason.
No, the triangle is there to stop the giant seat post.
Well, this is where I was going with that. In this scenario, because Jan is an absolute giant, I'm going to say it's probably there's good cause for it being there. So it's actually probably a positive. I didn't even hear what you said because I was forming my
9.
rating. 9 you went with, did you? Yeah, I'm in for a 9. I'm in for a 9.
Thank you for sending in your submissions. If you have any more, please send them to ratemyride@cademedia.co.uk.
Stop glitching.
I was thinking, but I ate too many sweets.
What I would like to happen is me go, rate my ride at cademedia.co.uk. But that would be such a pig, wouldn't it? That's just not worth the 20 minutes it would take.
No way am I doing that.